Hey Pisces, this is your May 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, then this is your reading for the month ahead. It's Romy. Thanks so much for taking the time to support the channel and to tune in. We're going to open up this month with the energy of the Ace of Coins, which is really in alignment with this Taurus energy that wants to bring things to life. And I think this idea of starting to see something real and tangible manifesting is going to give you a sense of inner validation towards the things that you've been investing in and what you've been setting your intention and attention towards. This new chapter heralds a time of increased vitality and opportunities and ideas that feel much richer to you. And I think that's because you've been able to be brave and show up in a way that feels more authentic than ever before. Now, when we're in Taurus energy, we are activating the third house for you. And this is a really interesting placement. And, you know, especially if you look at kind of the planets that reside in this part of your chart, because it's really how you perceive the world and what you will naturally focus upon in terms of, you know, what you see is what you get. And in this energy, you know, you're invited to, I suppose, reconsider the value proposition that you are creating for the things in your life, i.e. how much are you prioritizing and what is the meaning that they hold for you. This is the Taurus energy that wants you to say, well, it's okay to put the groundwork in, but let's do it towards the things that are actually going to make a difference, are going to feel sustainable, and actually deliver pleasure, yeah? Be the things that you want to have surrounding you in your life. And so this month there's a big focus and emphasis around the language that you use. And that's both in the inner dialogue that you have, Pisces, but it's also in the conversations that are going to be playing out. So this month sees a very progressive, open, curious, explorative you. And I think you will play with the energy of words, you know, and if we think about some of those Taurian themes, like, for example, indulgence, how does that land for you? What do you think about when you hear that word? Does it feel comfortable and inviting? Or do you feel that it kind of has a bit of a icky vibe to it? Because your relationship to the words that you hear, the words that you speak, are having a huge influence and effect on what your experiences are. I really like this commitment that you're bringing to something through the course of May. You're present, you're purposeful, you're powerful, and for me it seems to be deeply fueled from a place of love as well. The thing that we need to remember is that if we are going to set about investing in something, whether that be our work, our body, our relationship, how could it be more pleasurable? Because this is one of the key things that Taurus wants to teach you this month, okay? And, you know, the Son of Coins is telling me that you're going to make really meaningful progress, but at times it's going to feel like a bit of a grind. At times you're going to want to perhaps distract yourself or seek an adventure or something that's a little bit more light-hearted or enables you to just activate the senses in a new way. So don't be afraid to kind of find that balance, because if you don't, then I think quite quickly you can become bored of the very thing that was lighting you up, and you're not supposed to give up. There's a sense of perseverance right now, but it's almost like, I think if you can approach this month and having both a short-term and a long-term strategy in order to sort of make your way towards the thing that is important to you. So lots of rewards that are going to feel very immediate to you will be very helpful. There's a requirement this month for you to kind of stretch into something, and that means that we have to have almost like a warm-up period, because when we're reaching beyond our comfort zone, if we haven't kind of prepared ourselves energetically, which definitely goes back to the language that you're using, you know, but also being able to believe that you're deserving enough to receive it and kind of preparing and creating space in your life for it to flow in, then it's almost just like kind of trying to run a marathon having done no training. And that's when the Tower can kind of arrive rudely and give you a bit of a wake-up call. So this preparatory idea of like, I know I'm about to kind of move into a chapter in a season that's going to put me out my comfort zone. And remember, Taurus energy is like a bit of a preview, because this month we've got Jupiter shifting into the sign. So for the next 12 months, it's going to be lighting that third house energy up for you, challenging you in the way that you think, how you communicate, what you're putting out into the world, how you perceive what's happening around you. And so this sort of wake-up call, if you like, that I feel emerging from the Tower is perhaps defined for some of you as a sort of internal crisis point. And that's not something to fear. It's just a natural part of any progress that we have at any time, when we feel like we're moving forward and everything feels okay, and then all of a sudden we stop and we start to doubt and we unravel and things feel like they're coming undone. But it's just a phase, it's just a part of the cycle that's necessary to get you to where you need to be. So if you've got those tools in place, if you've sort of prepared yourself energetically, mind, body, soul, then it's not going to come in as such a uncomfortable experience for you. Okay? Now the lunar eclipse comes in on the 5th of the month in the sign of Scorpio, and at 14 degrees. This is a true like feeling of wrapping up. Remember, we've been working with the Taurus Scorpio eclipses last 18 months, and so this energy isn't new. It's not bringing something completely unexpected or that you haven't had a taster of or haven't already felt like you've been dealing with. But it's really stretching your higher mind. It's really trying to illuminate to you where you're supposed to be evolving, deeply rooted in your spirituality, but also expanding your horizons. But remember, what we need to focus upon on a full moon is the release of something. So again, Tower comes in and says, you know, in order to sort of continue to have a pathway for this to kind of come into full fruition, there's something that you're holding on to that is preventing this reinvention, this rebirth, this profound sense of transformation that Scorpio wants to deliver in your world. And that can feel uncomfortable because often we're tied to our comfort zones, and Taurus energy says, oh, like I'm quite okay where I am, thanks very much, and we can have a little change but not too much. So this kind of narrative that's perhaps going to be causing a little bit of inner conflict for you highlights and sort of coalesces quite powerfully under that Scorpio full moon. And it may pertain specifically to conversations that you're having around that time that, you know, you're perhaps trying to justify or present or communicate a certain idea or a approach or put something new out in a certain way. And then either you feel challenged directly from a person or from external sources, or even you yourself just having that inner critic kind of rising up very strongly. The alchemist, of course, is teaching us that we have everything that we need, and it's time to draw upon everything that we know to be able to harness the fact that not only are we having a physical, earthly experience, we're also a spiritual soul. And so as we really kind of come into harmony and alignment with that truth, then what we bring to the situation, the energy that we can invest and infuse into what it is we're trying to accomplish, all of a sudden takes on much more power, has much more influence. And this is what I feel here, like there's a certain degree of chaos that surrounds you. And I feel that there's also, in the first part of the month, perhaps this energy of feeling a bit tired and wired around Pisces. And that impacting your ability to bring a sense of perfection to something. And yet I want to say it's kind of part of your charm to show up a bit disheveled or not quite having everything in a perfect order, because you're able to be more natural. You're able to draw more in the moment what it is that you truly feel and be a bit more authentic. So I kind of want to say, like, don't worry too much, whatever it is that's going on that you feel you have to prepare for. This is a time where Taurus is helping you to kind of stop and smell the roses. And actually the more powerful thing for you to do would just be to immerse yourself ahead of time in the experience of just smelling and tasting and touching all of the things that make you feel fantastic. And so that kind of sensual, pleasurable desire that gets activated then puts you in that really beautiful energetic flow. And therefore, like, as people radiate with your energy, it's just much more magnetic, and you're able to sell or present or communicate in a much more harmonious way. The Magician coming through as well with all of this sort of writing again sort of ties into this third house energy. And of course with Jupiter shifting into the sign. And remember, this is now bringing form to all of that initiatory kind of life force that Aries, were bringing to the table in the last year. And there is this sense of you getting incredibly deliberate now about what you want to say and what you want to put out in the world, or how you want to leave your light, your legacy. And, you need to, as part of that, completely forget the timelines, because there is this sense of, you can begin any time, any place, anywhere. Oh my goodness, that reminds me of, I'm going to show my age now, do you remember that cult classic Martini advert? If you're not in the UK, I don't know if this was perhaps something that was overseas, but we used to have this like really jingle kind of advert series that ran. And in fact, that's quite fortuitous to mention, and the reason I say that is because when Jupiter shifts into Taurus, we really see the emergence of these kind of cult artists or arrivals of films, or and there's things that will stay with you. If you look back at some of like the biggest things in history, within our kind of collective, often they've come through during this time. But it is showing you this is the year where you can make a mark, and that means that you also have to kind of challenge the status quo. You have to bring something that feels more progressive, more liberated, more authentic into the world. And that's also the way in which you're going to be able to evolve your own personal relationships as well. Three of Wands says you've got to have the confidence to, when the opportunities do show up, say, yes, I can do it. I can, fill those shoes, like I'm on my way. And almost reaching, again, as we said, this kind of stretching out of your comfort zone towards your future self and saying, okay, what would this version of me say right now or do in this moment? Because, Taurus wants you to breathe life into something. Also wants you to savor your success, because otherwise it just becomes this perpetual kind of grind of just feeling like I am constantly wanting to get to the next stage. So you're in a relationship and you get the guy, you get the girl, you get the partner that you wanted, and then all of a sudden it's like, now I want the commitment, or now I want the house, or now I want the family, or now I want the holiday. So it's like at every stage, how can we allow, life is just this series of fleeting moments, each holding a gift, and it's your job to extract fully the richness of that experience, because it's going to help you to learn, develop and grow and access your own inner wealth. Now there's a big sense this month of like the what if, the question mark. And Mercury retrograde in Taurus, that we're still going to be working with through the month of May, even when it moves direct, it's a little in shadow, is going to have you going back over conversations or things that you've said or that people have said to you. And that's going to weigh heavy. And it's going to, again, potentially be that catalyst that if you go there and you allow yourself to kind of run down the rabbit hole, things can start to unravel and unpick themselves. And that's not what we want for you. So don't let that what if be the thing that stops you. Because as I always say, there's never a right or wrong. There's only ever an experience at a soul level. So the new moon comes in Taurus on the 19th, and it's a real power time to be setting the intentions. Remember these beautiful analogies around Taurus energy, that we're kind of creating this garden in our own life. So everything needs to be seeded and tended to. Everything will come in to blossom at its own, specific season and cycle. And there can be beautiful surprises along the way. And sometimes things won't blossom one season, but then the next time they'll come back twice as much. And so, you have to kind of look at your life in this way. And as you have all these strategies to be able to kind of look at scenario A, B, C, D, that's going to mean that you're not then going to feel like, well, all my eggs were in one basket and that didn't work. So now what? And if you're not careful, that could then lead to your Tower moment of just thinking, well, it's all ruined, it's all gone, it's all dissolved into nothing. But actually that's not the case, because whatever it is that's getting planted here will take some time to kind of bear fruit for you. But you should start to feel into the new shift and energy of it powerfully. Now, Venus is coming into fellow water sign Cancer on the 7th. In this sign, we seek safety. So this is in your love relationships, this is in your money. And the thing is, we will take care of things in this placement, which is beautiful. And there's a sensitivity and an ability to be able to read the room and an opportunity to bring healing. But there's also an indirectness to things and a tendency for emotional game playing and moodiness and possessiveness. So we want to understand both the light and the shadow to see how do we need to work with this. But if you are seeking safety, make sure it doesn't then counteract with having these beautiful, unrealistic, wild dreams, hopes and ambitions, because Three of Staffs tells me that there's things coming in here that might feel extraordinary to you, and if you kind of talk yourself out of being the person that's meant to receive them, then they're going to sail on by and you're going to go, well, what happened there? I've been waiting all this time for this opportunity, it's not showed up. And it's like, well, it was here, it's just that you didn't think you were a match to it. And so our ability to believe, to receive, and remember, you will always extract from the environment what you're really placing your focus and intention upon. So Mars is going to move into Leo on the 20th, igniting that drive with some fire. And with Leo, we bring a creative, visionary solution forth. In fact, Pallas Athena, asteroid goddess, is also moving into Leo on the 2nd. So new strategies and solutions that will feel healing to you, that will feel like they give you a clear route forward, and that something is shining really brightly and helping kind of illuminate the path. I think that, you will come into contact with quite a healing presence or healing energy. Maybe that comes from your guides, maybe it's a specific person, but this feels quite timely. Like it's probably just at the point where you're having like a major crisis of faith or a wobble, or there has been a bit of an argument or some kind of a discord or conflict that takes place. But really look at this as the sort of calm after the storm a little bit this month. Now, I think there's going to be an opportunity for like a spiritual shortcut for you through the course of May. What does that mean? Well, you could get somewhere where you want to be way faster because all of a sudden you figure something out on an energy level. However, Taurus is going to caution you and say, well, yeah, but when we put the groundwork in from a physical perspective, there's something deeply satisfying about that, because then we understand what it takes to arrive at a certain destination. And that experience is part of the thing that shapes us and prepares us for what we want. So yes, you have the capacity to say, here is this thing that I desire, and to bring it right in. But then you might have the sabotage that says, well, I don't feel ready or deserving of it, or actually I feel inexperienced to be able to deal with this. So I think, again, there's a balancing act that might play out for you a little bit through the course of this month. Part of that might have you questioning, is this even working? This relationship, this idea, this approach, this life. But all of these questions in third house is really important, and the same answer is going to come back at you. What language are you using to talk about these things? What is the energy of the words that sit behind them? Is it evolving and expansive and progressive and open, or limiting and constraining and restricting and depressing? You're going to be breathing life into something, and you're going to want to savor the success of what comes in for you that you have waited for a long time. So don't let yourself be distracted by other people or events that are going to try to come in and, in whatever way they think is necessary, almost limit or belittle or try to kind of overshadow you. And that's sad to say, but I think, again, this is you coming at this from a place of saying, I will like myself, I will respect myself, I will choose myself, I will show up for myself. And as you do, as you advocate for everything that you are this month, Pisces, then others are going to begin to do that too. And then you start to get the recognition that you deserve in your relationships, within your family, at work, in life. So it's a really big turning point around the energy that sort of exists, if you like, and how it's being mirrored back at you through the course of this month. And remember, when we move into Gemini season, which will be from the 21st, you have this 4th house lit up, which is really the kind of public versus private self, really focused on what has gone on within and how are you nurturing and parenting yourself. But it's about having that safe space as well. I think the lightness of Gemini energy, though, and the mutability of it will also serve you to feel freer to express yourself in some capacity as well. Plus, the direct motion of Mercury at the end of the month, again, will be helpful in kind of getting something back on track or picking up where you left off. Okay, so keep that in mind. But harness and utilize the power of that new moon in Taurus on the 19th, because around that moment I feel like there's a really beautiful opportunity that's kind of gonna land, and you're gonna either receive that as a download, or it's a flippant kind of conversation where someone says something in passing and it will just strike a chord that just feels so heavenly and divine in its timing. Okay. If you're new to the channel, Pisces, the 3 cards we will reveal in our extended reading. I talk for another 25 minutes or so, and you can find the link for that in the comment and description box underneath. I'm going to go ahead and clarify our main cards here, just to see the direction that we might be taking this extended reading and how it will shape the conversation. Okay, we have the 9 of Fire, 10 of Earth here. All the decks that I use are listed in the comment and description box. Okay, we've got Temptation, which is the energy of the devil, and the Ace of Swords. What do we have for that Tower? Messenger of Air, Ace of Earth. I'm going to pull one more for that. Messenger of Water. Interesting. Okay. Alchemist. Look, you've got all the pages this month. There are, I mean, again, it's not a surprise, such a focus around like conversations. You have such important conversations this month. Oh my goodness. Really pivotal. Okay, we have another Tower. World, and actually that wanted to come out as well. Queen of Water. What about this Star? 6 of Water. And 6 of Air. Okay. All right, we are going to go ahead and also pull from Life So Vision Oracle, which you can find over on my website. This is my own oracle deck, and you'll also see Moon Musings, which is my book, my debut book, now out on Amazon, and both the ebook and the audio version also coming online in May as well. So if you resonate with my work, please do take the opportunity to check it out. The other thing this month that I've created, each month I do soul journeys that really support what the soul stories are bringing through. In the light, we are focused on sitting in the power. So where you are feeling just a little drained or depleted, or you're in need of that nurturing, that rejuvenation, it's an opportunity to help guide you to connect into source energy. It's really beautiful. And in the shadow, we're looking at clearing a specific block. What is the thing that is causing resistance? You can check these out over on my website. Again, the link is below under Sacred Soul Support. Now, we've got Labyrinth of Sweet Surrender. We've got the Spirit Line coming through for you. Also, Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadows. The Collective Heart. We have Casting Out Constellations. This is the way, this is the work. And your Sacral Energy, Creative Charge. Beautiful. Okay, finally, I'm going to pull from the Enchanted Map Oracle. Message for Pisces. We have the Bone Collector. Okay, we will go into this in our extended. We'll also look at a personal question that might not have revealed in the main reading, as well as going deeper into this full spread to give you some more insight for the month ahead. Thank you for joining me and supporting my channel. I appreciate you, Pisces. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.